Hey everyone! Welcome to your weekly edition of Show Me How It's Done. My name is Laura Nerbonis and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So every Tuesday at noon, I either post a video or pop on live with you and share a fun little project that I've been working on. Some of the projects are ones that I've done at a previous class and I just thought I would share them publicly, and some of them are a surprise. So if you would like to follow along with me, I do have all of the measurements for the cards listed in the description. There's also a supply list, but of course with all of these cards, if you don't own exactly what I'm showing you, you can always modify it with something that maybe you have on hand, or it might spark your interest and you might decide that this is a wish list item that you'd like to enjoy. So speaking of wish list items, I do just want to mention that today is July 18th, 2023. Tomorrow will be July 19th, 2023, and Stampin' Up! Is offering a 24-hour sale on all of their stamp sets in the annual catalog. So that being said, this stamp set, for instance, would be 15% off tomorrow if you decided to go shopping. I did put my website at the bottom, lauranerbonis.stampinup.net. If you don't have a demonstrator, then I would love to help you if you're here in Canada. And if you're spending over $35, then you will receive a kit from me with 3 fun little projects in it, along with an exclusive video to put them together. But this card is actually one of those projects. I have it fully prepped for you using the Earthen Textures Bundle and the Earthen Elegance Designer Series paper. And so I'm going to show you today how to put this one together. So let's give you a peek of what we're making. See, it's so pretty. So for this class, because when I do mail out kits, I can't really do stamping. I tend to center things more around the dies, and then my specialty classes where you actually order the stamp set and you have it on hand, then we center that mostly around stamping. So for this class, all you had to do was stamp a sentiment up on that little tag. But if you don't own this set, that's okay. You can always sub in for something else that you do own. And the best part about this stamp set is we did add some of these stamps on the inside for those people who came to my house for the class, but you have all of these gorgeous dies that cut out all your leaves and grasses and your pots, and those I just went absolutely crazy with for this card. We've got all sorts of those leaves and grasses. I used the distressed gold specialty paper for that leaf. And then these pots and that handle there, as well as the sheet on the bottom, this is all I have left of my Earthen Elegance designer paper, but they were all cut out using patterns from the paper. I didn't have to do any funny stamping or shading. This package of paper is perfectly designed with lots of different fun patterns to make your jars just really come to life. So I would highly suggest that if you love any sort of terracotta or any sort of like household decor with plants, this might be a set for you. So I chose to go with the kind of more rich and regal color palette that the paper also expressed. But you could just as easily use these pots in a really bright and cheery card. And what I love to suggest is if you like this idea, just go on Google and type in the stamp set name. You'll come up with so many other ideas too. Then you actually really know that this is a set you're going to get your money's worth out of and completely enjoy to the max. So let's create. I'm going to move the stamp set out of our way because I need the table space. And I'm going to show you how I designed this card today. So to start, I chose Pretty Peacock as my card base, and I have cut that piece to 4 1/4 by 11. Then in the middle here at 5 1/2, we've done a little score mark so that I can fold my card in half, turn it, and have a card that opens up and down. Now on the inside of my cards, I always love to have something to write on if it's a dark color cardstock. So I went with the Very Vanilla. You could also choose basic white, but I found these pages, they were kind of like white mixed with a bit of vanilla, so I went more the darker shade here. So this piece you're just going to attach to the inside of your card. And like I mentioned, if you have this stamp set, you can go ahead and add a little bit of detail to the card inside. Now I didn't have anything in here when I presented the card, but I will give full credit to some of my lovely class ladies who started grabbing some of the pots and the pretty Peacock ink, and they just added one of these cute little pots to the bottom right. And it just really did make the card kind of have a little bit more character. You could add some of the grasses kind of coming out too if you wanted, but we thought maybe the card was just happy enough with this little jar. Now on the front, we need a piece of gray granite cardstock. Now this piece I have embossed with the exposed brick 3D embossing folder. But if you don't own that one, another one that looks really sharp is the time-worn type. So either one of these, you can see just kind of this messy, blotchy section kind of is mirrored in both. And then this time-worn type has the wording, and the exposed brick has a nice brick. So either way, you're going to have a gorgeous background if you choose one of those two. And I decided I wanted to pop this piece of cardstock up on dimensionals. And pardon me, I should say the measurements for those inside and outside pieces. So the gray granite and the ivory that we just cut, they are 4 inches by 5 1/4. And just remember, if I ever do forget, which I'm sorry, I try really hard not to, but if I do forget, you can always check the description on the video because I've posted all of those in there for you. So, taking all of these backings off. It's a couple seconds, but it's worth it. There we go. This will go just right in the middle of my card front, and you should have the slightest of borders around all of those sides and your top and bottom. Looks pretty. Now, this is a great use of scraps, so it doesn't really matter which piece of paper you have left over. Pardon me, from the package, you can use any scrap that will work. This is 1 1/4 by 4 inches. So this piece I'm going to put adhesive, such as tape or seal or glue, on the back of it. And then we're going to attach that just to the bottom of this gray section. That's going right up to the edge of the gray, but it's not coming off the gray. We still want that nice, beautiful, pretty peacock border showing through. Now, I like to kind of break up my patterns if I've got 2 things going. So I cut myself a little skinny strip of early espresso. This is 1/4 inch wide by 4 inches long. And our tape is a little too thick for it, so I tend to just grab my Tombow liquid glue and put the tiniest of dots across that strip. And then I'm going to use it kind of as a buffer between my designer paper and my cardstock. It can go just right top. Go. Glue is nice because you can always move things around if you need to. Now you get to have fun with your pots. So what I've cut out for myself is one of the large pots and 2 of the smaller pots. It's focusing. There we go. Okay, so 1 large pot, 2 small pots, and then I really thought these handles were so cute, so I had to cut myself one of those at least to use, and it kind of makes my pots look different even though they're actually the exact same pot that we're using. So I'm going to start by attaching my large pot here. And I do want to keep in mind that I'll be tucking in some of these grasses behind the pot. So I'm popping this up on dimensionals, but I don't want to put dimensionals right up in the top section. Otherwise, I'll have trouble sticking some of those grasses in behind. So when I turn this over, I'm actually just going to put dimensionals kind of in the middle of the pot and then near the bottom. And that will keep it well supported, but I'll still also have room to put some of my grasses in there. And this guy goes not right in the center of your card, maybe move it over to the left just a tiny bit, but it is going to be the piece that all of your other pots kind of get built around. So put it in place first. Then the easiest thing I find when I'm putting pots beside something so large is just put dimensionals on the left and the right, and your pots can go on top of that. So I've got this fun little one. Look how cute that paper is. It almost looks like just milk kind of frothing over. So that goes just to the right. And then my jar here, I want to make sure that this handle is attached. So what I'm going to do is just put a couple dots of glue along the top of my jar and stick it on so that it's got kind of a nice curve continuation. If you're worried about this falling off, you can also turn it over and just stick a tiny little bit of tape on the back. Nobody's going to see it, and then that way you know that this little handle isn't going anywhere. So when you're happy with how it looks, turn this over, put it to the left of the large jar. There we go. And now you get to have fun decorating. So I mentioned I cut out the large palm frond from the Distressed Gold Designer Series paper. I'm going to go ahead and trim off most of the little stem there because we don't need it. But you do want this guy really well supported. So we're going to turn that over and put dimensionals on the back here because it's very heavy. It's got quite a weight to it. And I'd like to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. So this one, just keep in mind, if you are planning to put this in an envelope, you will need to have it sticking kind of upright or facing the other way. Maybe you even want to put it on this side of your project. If you don't care, like I kind of don't, because I think it looks really cute in this guy, I'm going to have it hanging off the left-hand side. But it would look cute on either side, so don't fret if your preference is that it's in an envelope. Now, for all your little pieces, I have cut a leaf and a grass with the pretty peacock, then a leaf and the grass with our new in color, which I'm drawing a blank, copper clay. There we go. And those guys are easily attached just with a little dot of glue the very bottoms of their stems. Okay, so don't worry about putting glue all over. Just put a tiny bit in this bottom part, and you can even snip off some of that excess so that you don't have to worry about it. But it'll sneak right in behind your jar because it's all popped up. And then we've got some grass. Again, just a little bit of glue on the very bottom and tuck that in behind. And I went the opposite. A large leaf here, glue on the back, just a little bit, tucked right in. And last but not least, a little bit of grass. That one's a little long, it's bumping into a dimensional, so that's okay. trim off what you need to. Make it look natural. Little glue there. Then when you stick it in, nobody can tell that the bottom is gone. Okay, so now I'm ready to start decorating with my sentiment and a little bit of this new linen wave trim ribbon. It's so cute. Look, I have used it for a class already and I still have most of the roll. Granted, I've only given them probably about 2 inches, but when I cut this apart, unlike other ribbons that sometimes fray and, unravel, these circles are staying still completely and they're ready for me to attach to the card. So the easiest way to put this on is just to grab a little bit of double-sided tape, put it along the bottom of your designer series paper, kind of where you want the ribbon to sit. And then it will be the exact same thickness as your tape and can kind of just sneak right in there along the bottom. Like, it's so subtle, but it does add quite a bit of character, I feel, to the card. So now before I attach my sentiment, I guess I probably have to stamp it. So what I did is I cut myself just a little scrap of paper, about 1/2 inch by 3 inches, and that is more than enough to fit my little thank you. So I'm stamping that in Pretty Peacock, just tapping on my ink pad. It's very juicy. And I've stamped right in the middle of my little scrap of paper. Now, we don't have a die that does these little angles, and that's kind of nice because if you're not using the exact same stamp that I am, you can easily replicate this little trick in another strip. So no matter how long your strip is, do your stamping first and then come in and cut just at like the tiniest angle towards the last letter. And then whatever way you cut, do it the same at the beginning of your word. And then you end up with this fun little kind of sideways sentiment that's really cute and adds a little bit of character. So I'm just going to sneak a couple dimensionals onto my base, kind of around this little jar here, because I want my sentiment to just be on the same level as all of my pots. And you can sneak that up there. Oops, going on crooked. There we go. There. And then to finish off, there are some really adorable adhesive back sequins. So this is only half of the colors. There's also a white one, I want to say like a silvery or gray one, that all come on a sheet, but I had to chop this up as we were using them on different projects. So these are our neutral adhesive back sequins, and you can just grab maybe a couple of them, whichever ones you like. Did the brown on that, but maybe we'll try gold on this one. I think that one lost. I usually like to do 3s. There we go. And there you are. Switch it up a little bit to make it look a bit different. This is a really, really fun card. You can get so many jars out of that one package of paper. And if you were somebody who maybe bought it and don't know what to do with it, you have an idea. So I hope that you loved today's video. If you enjoyed it, please maybe consider clicking the like button. And if you subscribe to the channel as well, then you'll get notifications when I do post a video or go live. I look forward to seeing you all though next Tuesday with another edition of Show Me How It's Done.